Hello, welcome to Purana Talk. We're back. This is section 2 because we had to stop.
Yeah, part 2 of chapter 5 of the Garuda Purana, second skanda, or kanda,
or version,
which is the Preta Kanda, or the Dharma Kanda. You know, this is the great thing about Hinduism. They're always saying, this is what you do. Or you could do it this way, or you could do it that way, or do half as many as this, or face west, or whatever they do in your neighborhood. Thanks. This is the voice of authority, but this is also what I like most, perhaps, about Hinduism.
Well, this is more the attitude we need in general about religion in the world. That part of it is really good.
There you go. Other parts, kind of weird.
Yeah, well, local variation creates kind of weird. Yeah. That's what we learned today.
But we love it, and we learn. And here we go. We're actually in the middle of, we're way in the middle.
We were dealing with pindas a lot.
And we took a break just kind of where it seemed to make sense, but
only slightly. 78.
So he who performs them annually, these Shraddha rituals that it's been talking about, should perform them in the manner previously spoken of. The Preta eats twice in a day on the 11th and 12th day.
So you do the ritual twice,
all right,
on those days.
And so this is where we pick up. To each husband and wife, a pinda should be offered. Once sapinda is completed, the pretahood ends, which is to say they graduate from pretahood to become a full-blown pitri.
Right. So they're an ancestor instead of a recently dead.
And at that point, they get, when you make offerings to the ancestors, they get a share because they've become one of those.
That's why you had to introduce them to the relatives in the last episode.
79. For 1 year, a lamp should be kept burning at the door of the house.
That's a nice one.
Food,
79.
Food, lamp, water, cloth, or whatever else is given. The same gives satisfaction to the preta.
At the door.
Yeah. Specifically. In brief, I have told you the period of Sapindi Karna as 1 year. Now I shall tell you how people go to Yama's abode. That's where we should have broken.
Yeah, well.
We wouldn't have known until we'd read that.
Mm-hmm.
On the 13th day, after Shravana Karma, he is captured by Yama's attendants, just as you capture the serpents by neck, O Garuda. Maybe he's speaking specifically to Garuda, who is an enemy of serpents, who is an eagle-like bird who captures serpents. He is led in the way like the caught-up monkey. The body attains a form like air. Born out of pinda, it assumes a shape different from the one born from the womb of the mother. According to age, state, etc., it differs. 86,000 yojanas long is the distance between the mortals and Yama's worlds. 200.5 yojanas and 47 krosha he covers daily, so in 48 and 30 days he reaches Yama's city. Being dragged by Yama's servants, thus when the way is being covered by the sinner, what happens then, you hear, O Garuda. For 13 days he is tied with fierce nooses by Yama's servants, with goad in hand, and looks frowning, and the hand engaged in striking with sticks. Thus he is dragged towards the south. There on the fierce way, full of thorny grass, thorns, anthills, sharp stones, which contain burning fires, as well as hundreds of charms, which is heated by a burning sun, is infested by dogs or flies, which echoes with the howling sounds of jackals. He is dragged by Yama's messengers.
We're still in this group, right?
Yeah, I'm right here. Okay. But I'm still puzzling over that. There on the fierce way, full of thorny grass, thorns, anthills, sharp stones, which contain burning fires, as well as hundreds of charms. Mm-hmm. That doesn't seem right. It should be some bad thing.
Well, maybe the implication is they are bad things.
Yeah, I don't like this. I'm trying to think, could it be chart? Could it be harms? Hundreds of harms? Hundreds of
Oh, I see.
Worms? No, I don't know. It seems like it should be something else, and there's a typo, but maybe it's charms. All right. Uh, the sinner perishes when his body is burnt in Yama's abode.
And this is the same Yama we're dealing with in Tibetan Buddhism as Yamantaka, or
Yama is death.
death.
Lord of Death, guardian of the southern direction.
Right.
And you can get deeper, but thus, as his body is eaten, torn asunder, pierced, he suffers immensely on account of his own deeds, though he is dead. There are 16 cities in the way. Now hear about them. When it says in the way, it sort of means on the way. It seems to be a common way of translating.
Sort of like Stations of the Cross. These are things you go through, states of being you go through.
So the 16 cities on the way are Yamya, Sauripura, Nagendra Bhavana, Gandharva, Shailagrama, Krauncha, Krurapura, Vichitra Bhavana, Bhavapada, Dukkada, Nanakrandapura, Supta Bhavana, Raudra, Payovarshana, Shitarya, and Bahubhiti. These are the 16 cities not seen by you. Then he goes to Yama, saying, O son, he cries, painfully remembering his own misdeeds. He reaches the city on the 8th day, O Tarkya. There is Pushpabhadra river and a good-looking tree. He wants to take rest there, but Yama's servants do not bid him do so. Here, on the earth, whatever is given by his sons every month, rice ball, etc., due to affection or kindness, he eats the same, and then he goes to Sauripura. As he goes, he cries, being beaten with clubs.
Not pleasant, This isn't an afterlife that's filled with joy.
No, I wouldn't want it on my ancestor either, I did not construct a tank for satiating thirsty people, beasts, and birds. I did not make a pasture for satisfying cattle. Now, O body, suffer for whatever you have done. King Jungama rules in that city, who can assume any shape at will. Out of fear of the king's frowns, he eats the rice ball. Whatever is offered to him in the 3 fortnights, together with the oblation of water, he eats and drinks. He is then struck with clubs. Neither daily gifts were given, nor pastures made, nor the sacred books such as the Vedas and Dharmashastras offered in charity, nor Puranas heard. Now, O body, you suffer for your acts of omission. Having reached Nagendranagar, and having eaten the rice balls offered by the relatives in the 2nd month, he moves further. As he goes onwards, he laments being struck with the sword. A fool that I am, I have lost everything to others. I obtained manhood by virtue of accumulated merit. Then he reaches Gandhamadana in the 3rd month. There he eats the rice ball. Then he goes further. As he goes further, he laments being beaten by Yama's emissary. I neither gave gifts, nor poured oblations into fire, nor undertook penance in the caves of the Himalayas, nor bathed in Ganga's water. Hence, O body, suffer for what you have done. He reaches Shailagama in the 4th month. There stones rain upon him continuously, O bird. Having eaten the 4th monthly oblation, he moves. As he moves, he is struck again with the stones by the messengers. I followed neither Jnana Marga, nor Yoga Marga, nor Karma Marga, nor Bhakti Marga, nor did I remain in the company of saints. O body, now suffer for whatever you have done. Marga means path, road, whatever, pathway. So He followed neither the path of knowledge, the path of yoga, the path of action, or the path of devotion. Essentially. Right. In the 5th month, he goes to Krurapura, O Kashyapa. Having eaten the rice ball and drunk water by his relatives, he goes to Krurapura. As he goes, he laments, being struck with spears. O mother, O father, O brother, O sons, O my wives, I was not advised by you. I have reached this state. As he laments thus, Yama's messengers say to him, Where is the mother? Where is the father? O fool, where is the wife? Where are your sons? Where are the friends? O fool, now suffer the results of your evil activities. All sinners go by this ancient path. As you know, the provisions are the only strength of the traveler. So none without provision can venture to travel over this path, for the path is such where no selling and purchasing system exists. In less than 6 months, he reaches Krauncha. And Krauncha should be a mountain, as I understand it. And having eaten the rice ball and drunk water, he rests there for a while, and then leaves for Vichitranagara. As he goes, he laments, being struck off with spearheads by Yama's emissaries. Where do I go, O my life? A dead man cannot revive again. Thus lamenting, he goes in the way, his body being captured by torturers. Vichitranagara is ruled by King Vichitra. Being satiated with the 6-monthly rice ball, he moves further. As he does, he laments, being struck with the club. Do my brothers, son, parents, or anyone exist who may take out a sinner like me falling in the ocean of distress? As he goes, there in the way of Vaitarani, 100 yojanas long, full of pus and blood. You laugh.
Well, might as well.
There are seen boatmen, fishermen. They say if he has gifted Vaitarani cow, he can get into the boat and cross the river. But if he's not gifted the cow, he's brushed aside by the boatman. He is bit by the birds with sharp beaks like crows, cranes, ants, etc. O bird, the gift of cow at the time of death serves for the relief of the deceased. The gift of cow destroys all sins and affords all facilities. The deceased goes to Bhavapada in the 7th month. After partaking the 7th monthly offering made by relatives, he reaches Bhavapada, where he laments being struck with the iron club. Neither you offered gifts, nor gave oblations, nor performed penance, nor undertook bath, nor rendered a good act. So, O foolish creature, now suffer for whatever act you have done. In the 8th month, and we're at 130 if you're wondering where we are in the text. In the 8th month, after eating the rice ball and drunk water, he goes to Nanakrandapura, Autarkia. Being struck with pebbles there, he says, Where are those sweet dishes offered with sweet tit-tat by my wife? And where this beating with the pestles? In the 9th month, he eats his rice ball at Nanakrandapura. Then he laments in many ways. In the 10th month, he reaches Sutaptabhavana. Thus, moving, he laments in the way, being struck with plows. Where the massaging of my feet by my sons, and where the dragging of my legs by the thunder-like hands of messengers? He then eats the rice ball given in the 10th month, together with the offerings of water oblation. At the end of the 11th month, he goes to Raudrapura. As he goes to Raudrapura, he laments being struck in the back, where the cotton bed I used to roll in, and where the rigid place where I am beaten by the messengers. There he eats the rice ball, etc., given by his relatives, and then he goes to the city called Payovarshana. While going, he laments, as he is struck at the head, Where are the servants who with their soft hands used to massage oil in my head? Where my head being struck by Yama's servants? At the end of the year, he eats the annual shraddha offered by his relatives. Then, that was 140. 141. Then, at the end of the year, he goes to Shrotriya. He weeps while his tongue is cut out with the knife. Where that sweet feeling of rasa? And where this cutting of my tongue with the knife? Having partaken of the annual shraddha there, he goes to Bahubhuti. He has assumed by this time a body, composed of the essence of his merit accruing from the gift of rice balls. Again, the rice balls creating a body.
So this is actually
for him.
the reason here. Rice balls offered.
Because he's going through all of this suffering without having a body somehow.
Equals
presumably
getting a body. Getting body.
Composed of the essence of his merit accruing from the gift of rice balls. 144. The sinner abuses his own self. He also abuses his wife, and thus laments in this way. Then he reaches the city of Yama nearby. It is 40 yojanas in measurement. There are 14 doorkeepers, called Shravanas. They are pleased with the Shravana karma performed by his relatives, or else they get angry. There, very soon, among death, time, etc., he sees Yama with red eyes, looking fierce and dark, like a heap of collyrium, with fierce jaws and frowning fiercely, chosen as their lord by many ugly, fierce-faced hundreds of diseases, possessing an iron rod in his hand and also a noose. The creature goes either to good or to bad state, as directed by him. A sinner goes to bad state, as I have told you before. Those who give umbrella, shoes, and shelter see Yama as gentle-faced with earrings and a shining crest. In the Shraddha of the 11th or 12th month, many brahmanas should be feasted, because then the deceased is very hungry. He who does not perform the needful while alive, being instructed by sons, wife, and others, suffers afterwards. Thus I have told you how one goes to Yama's abode, what shall be done in his favor for 1 year by his relatives. Do you wish to ask anything more?
Well, very interesting. Like from, what was it, about 95 to 95 gives us all those names of the various levels.
Yeah.
And then it goes through them one
16
by one.
cities.
So the next set of stanzas describes each one.
Mm-hmm.
Until you get to Yama's abode, which is 145. 143 tells us why this is important to do these rituals. It really seems to me it's an evaluation period. I don't see it as so dire, but certainly, a lot of people do report going through this feelings of anxiety about things they did or did not do in near-death experiences when they come back. So, there may be some of that.
Is there an understanding, I wonder, if, the family recalls the times that they did do these things, it's sort of like letting them off the hook. Maybe they won't suffer as much if they recall that, no, he can't be accused of not giving gifts to Brahmins or Pras, because there was that time,
Right, exactly. Because these statements that come of what he says at each level, or what's said to him, I'm not quite sure how that works.
It's this guilt from beyond the grave, too, that's so weird, this notion that, if you don't do this, Uncle
then they
Edgar
won't have a
suffers,
body.
they won't have
be
a
ghost
body
forever.
It's like they won't enjoy the pit through. There's all these issues.
But all of this might be very helpful to somebody like me that tries to get rid of ghosts. In certain cultural contexts, I being aware of this makes it easier for me.
I'm wondering, it occurs to me, maybe we're reading the parts backwards, because in a sense, I remember in the first part, it was telling you these pilgrimages to Gaia or to Patna, or maybe I think it was Gaia in Bihar and stuff like that, had the power of overcoming these problems should they arise. At the same time, these texts are telling you, well, if you don't do it, he's stuck a ghost, and you can do 1,000 Shravanas, and the other part of the text says, you go to Gaia and get a bus.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to see what the variations are, because inside the text itself there's dialogue going on between different sects or different points of view about how this afterlife thing goes. But I just don't see it myself as dire as this. To me, it isn't all about suffering, but I'm not living the life they lived.
Yeah, well, and this is written for the living by people that have a vested interest in you,
doing these rituals,
and giving them a cow and giving to Brahmins.
Yeah, well, there's that. We mustn't lose sight of that, because to some extent, the purpose of a religious ritual with priesthood is to maintain that priesthood to some extent, and so this is why certain religions like my own prefer to not pay the priesthood, because they don't really need to be paid for that. So, they should do it because they want to do it, not because they would get money from it.
And you want them to exist.
It doesn't mean you should be good to them.
You want the world to support them somehow. I mean,
you might give them...
Gifts are acceptable, but there's no coercive...
But you shouldn't...
There shouldn't be a coercive element.
No.
Oh, that's very high.
No, you should never feel like you're obligated to do that. Like, you should be able to go to the priest and have whatever they need to do for you without feeling like you have to pay them. Because it really isn't that relationship. Ideally, the person you go to is the person that you respect to take this energy off you or change the energy somehow and make it a good thing when it wasn't a good thing for you. And so it seems like they should just be doing that because they want to.
Yeah, well, there may be a conflict of interest. It's interesting the way it's structured in Hinduism. I think, if the Brahmins were really as avaricious as they might be, they would have put themselves at the top of the power hierarchy as well. But they put themselves on the top of the spiritual hierarchy and allowed Kshatriyas to keep the material, physical power in society.
In a lot of ways, this is the split you see in Celtic history between the monarchy and Druidry. They had this relationship of coming to two peaks of power that sort of kept each other in check.
Yeah, and keep each other in power.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
It's a two-way street.
When they were getting along, which they didn't always.
No.
So, because they have different ends in mind, they go about things in a different way.
Well, we have other things to do, believe it or not, so
Bye.
I'm going to let you go.